Coming up, Oklahoma signs its own Texas-style abortion ban into law following a bombshell Supreme Court leak.
Most of our Wednesday morning remains calm, but we're sitting back with flood watches in anticipation of our thunderstorms for today. We'll have the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And some visitors from Europe get their kicks on Route 66 just in time for National Tourism Week.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. We'll get to those stories in just a moment, but first, let's go to Michael Hayslip.
So far, so good. Let's get just some light sprinkles down to the south. But Tanya, we know that today, once it starts, it is not going to let up for some time. Here is a light rain that we're seeing, even a little lightning coming down there. That's down to the southwest in Oklahoma City. So once again, it really shouldn't affect our morning commute. Getting to work is going to be fine. It's going to be getting home because we are definitely going to see some flooding problems by the time this is done. Cold front still over us down through central Oklahoma and into northwest Arkansas, but temperatures pretty stable. Not a whole lot of difference between what we had at this point in time yesterday. Maybe even a few degrees warmer in your neck of the woods. Temperatures today are going to be, say, low 60s just because the cloud cover and the storm front not going to allow us to warm up. Now, speaking of the storm front, here we go. Say about 9, 10 o'clock, we get started out to the west and to the south. There we are around the noon hour. Heavy rain coming down, and that will have the lightning and thunder. Here's why we have flooding concerns. Watch this thing just keep on back building. And as it rolls through, by the time we get to Thursday midnight, we are still coming down with some of our heaviest rain overnight into Thursday morning. And then we got one more round that rolls through for the Thursday drive before we finally begin to clear out there Thursday evening. That's right, evening. So the flood watches have pretty much consumed most of the 4 states right now, especially when you push down to the south. That's where we see the majority of this, looking at anywhere from 1 to 3 inches by the time Thursday wraps up.
Okay.
And a great Mother's Day weekend.
Yeah. We'll dry out just in time for the weekend. But that's about it.
We're gonna need every ounce of dry air we can get our hands on by the time Thursday is over.
Okay. Well, we'll definitely be watching that when it comes through.
Yep.
Sure. All right. Thanks, Michael. A judge sentences a Coffeyville, Kansas man to prison for a shooting death. Ruben Ruiz Robles is sentenced to a maximum of 32 months for the April 2021 death of Chris Temple in Coffeyville. As part of a deal, Ruiz Robles pleaded no contest to involuntary manslaughter in the case. The prosecutor dropped the original charge of first-degree murder after 2 key witnesses chose not to testify on the state's behalf. A judge in Jasper County, Missouri sentences a man to multiple terms of life in prison for child sex crimes. Daniel Chavez was found guilty of 4 counts of statutory sodomy, 1 count of child molestation, 1 count of attempted statutory sodomy, and 2 counts of furnishing pornographic material to a minor. All 4 of the statutory sodomy charges carry a life sentence. The rest of the sentences will run concurrent to those sentences. And a federal judge sentences an Ottawa County, Oklahoma man for sexually abusing a minor. Authorities say in 2020, 39-year-old Jeremy Lawhorn contacted the Ottawa County Sheriff's Office to report that he needed to confess a crime. Lawhorn admitted to inappropriately touching a 12-year-old. After a dispute over jurisdiction, he was federally indicted for sexual abuse of a minor in Indian country. This week, a federal judge sentenced Lawhorn to 30 months in prison, followed by 10 years of supervised release. Oklahoma bans abortions if a fetal heartbeat can be detected. On Tuesday, Governor Kevin Stitt signed a Texas-style abortion ban prohibiting abortions when a heartbeat is detected in the fetus. Experts say that's typically about 6 weeks into a pregnancy before some women know they are pregnant. Like the Texas law, it also allows private citizens to sue abortion providers or anyone who helps a woman obtain an abortion for up to $10,000. And a McDonald County elementary school works to increase enrollment of preschoolers and in kindergarten-aged children. White Rock Elementary in Pineville says kindergarten enrollment is down this year compared to most years. Now teachers are reaching out to parents of young kids to make sure their students are enrolled. School officials say it's important to know class sizes early so educators can plan ahead.
For kindergarten, it's important to know those numbers in the spring so that we can plan for class sizes and the number of classes that we need in the fall. It also gives parents the opportunity to meet the teachers before school starts in the fall, so that they have a face to a name when they maybe see a welcome postcard in the mail over the summer.
Nope.
Experts also say kids in early childhood education programs usually have improved social skills and do better in school. Load up the car because this week marks the start of National Tourism Week. One of the main tourist attractions in the country is Route 66. On Tuesday, a tourist group of 25 people from the Czech Republic stopped in Joplin while touring Route 66. Their trek started in Illinois and will end in Santa Monica, California. The group's president says he cannot pick a favorite spot along the route.
Oh, no. I have no favor on Route 66 because the favorite is all Route 66 together. No place are. I cannot prefer any place. All is good together.
The Czech Route 66 Association will make the trip back across Route 66 later this month, starting in California and ending in Illinois. Well, break out the lightsabers and may the 4th be with you. This year, National Star Wars Day falls on Wednesday. That's today. It's a day for Star Wars fans to celebrate all things pertaining to a galaxy far, far away. So how was May 4th claimed by Star Wars fans? Well, it originated in Toronto in 2011 with a trivia game and costume contest. And of course, it's a play on the iconic Jedi blessing, may the Force be with you. You can celebrate the day by showing off your lightsaber or maybe your best Wookiee impression on social media with the hashtag National Star Wars Day.
And don't poke anybody's eye out playing with lightsabers, kids.
No. My
PSA from your Skywatch Weather Center.
Yeah, if I asked my 7-year-old how he would like to celebrate National Star Wars Day, he would say, let's watch the Book of Boba Fett again.
There you go.
Again.
We got pretty much 50s. And I'm still picking up some high 40s every now and then. It just happens to be that the sensors that we do have out there, low 50s, 54 in Chanute. There we go, 46 in Monette and 48 in Cassville. That's what I'll buy right there. It's pretty comfortable when you walk outside, but let's go ahead and do a little forward planning. There's your flood watches encompassing most of the 4 states, and they stretch all the way down south through Oklahoma as well. So the farther south you go, the heavier your rain is. And here's what we've got cooking. It begins later this morning. Once it starts, it's going to be an elongated affair. Take us all the way from Wednesday through Thursday and Thursday afternoon and evening into Friday morning. So 1 to 3 inches of rain when we talk about the severe thunderstorm risk map. Well, you see the low level indicating a better chance for hail and high wind down to the south. That elevated category, that encompasses OKC down to Wichita Falls. So at least we don't find ourselves in that elevated color code. Flooding is going to be our main concern, and once it begins today, that flooding chance, even though it wants to expire at 1 p.m. Thursday, I'm down to the south. Those are going to be extended until Thursday evening.
All right, we'll definitely be
Yeah.
watching it for sure. The rain will probably get to the middle of the 4 states, Joplin area around noon. Is that what you're thinking?
I think, yep, maybe a little bit earlier.
A little earlier.
Pretty hard to rain at noon. Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Michael. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, the Lions get ready to head into the MIAA softball tournament as a number 6 seed and welcome the role of underdog. Plus, a leaked Supreme Court document reignites a national debate on abortion rights. And COVID booster shots may become just as routine as a yearly flu shot. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Pitt State wide receiver Jalen Martin earning his shot in the NFL. Martin's been invited to rookie minicamp for his hometown Detroit Lions. Martin played 1 full season at Pittsburgh State, all 11 games last fall, racking up 832 yards and 5 touchdowns. That was good enough for second-team All-MIAA recognition. After not hearing his name in the draft over the weekend, Martin ready to get to camp and show he does deserve a spot on the field come Sundays.
I feel like I'm walking in there with everything to prove.
I'm gonna walk in there like I belong there for starters, because that's just the mindset that I have. And ultimately, I just want to continue to let everybody know who Jalen Martin is. I've only had one full season and 4 games to really prove to myself and to prove to the people who've always believed in me that, you know, I can do whatever I want to do as long as I stick to my basic fundamentals of hunger, grit, work ethic, and having a great support system. So I'm walking in there with everything to prove.
Joplin Eagles with 1 week left in the baseball regular season. Busy week. How about 5 games on the schedule between now and next Tuesday? First of those against Carl Junction. First batter of the game, Kyler Perry. Pitching for CJ. Swinging. Joplin, though, does get 2 in the inning and then break the game open in the second. In that second inning, Ethan Guilford right back up the middle. Here comes Bodie Carlson on his horse, scoring from second later in the inning. First and third for Justin McReynolds. Line drive, gapper into right center. All the way to the fence. Byler Reether scores. Guilford comes around all the way from first. McReynolds in with a triple. 8 runs in the first 2 innings for the Eagles as Joplin rolls 9-2 the final. Stay in Southwest Missouri. Big one in the Big 8. McDonald County up against Nevada. The winner earning the Big 8 West title. And it will be your McDonald County Mustangs as the West Division winners, 2-0 on the shutout. Congratulations to the Mustangs. Missouri Southern Lions back in the MIAA softball tournament. Lions the 6th seed in the bracket, opening up against Rogers State on Thursday. Rogers State, they're one of the best in the nation. Hillcats head into the tournament ranked 6th nationally. Swept Missouri Southern in the regular season 1-0 and 6-3. So both those games very, very close. Lions ready for another shot at the Hillcats and embracing this underdog mentality.
I always view us as the underdogs, so I like it. We could be the 8 going into the 1. I don't care. I view us always as the underdog. You know, having last year's that experience going to Oklahoma City, playing there, getting that under our belt, I'm really hoping that pays off this week.
We got a good chance to see their pitcher and see what we need to do better at the plate to have a better approach against her. And I think we threw really well against them, had a great defense, and I think we just need to pick it up on the offensive side and we'll be good.
Once again, the softball action begins tomorrow. Kansas City Royals, St. Louis Cardinals scheduled to meet 4 times this season. Well, they've already played twice. Cardinals won both in St. Louis, series shifting to Kansas City. We got 2 at Kauffman Stadium. Game 1, Bobby Witt Jr., his first career home run for the Royals as they lead it all the way through. 7-1 your final score. Still to come on the KOAM Morning News, the U.S. State Department now classifies WNBA star Brittany Griner as wrongfully detained in Russia. This following the release of fellow American Marine Trevor Reed. And a check on our 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. We are just past 5:17 on our Wednesday morning. Live look over 7th and Rangeline, where remain dry for the time being. 50 degrees, clouds beginning to build as well. Temperature is really not an issue right now, anywhere from, say, 46 to 54. Majority of places sitting right around the 50-51 degree mark. As we transition to the Skywatch Storm Tracker, we are picking up just a little light rain down to the far south, put on the sweeping radar. Give you an idea just exactly what we're talking about. You see the blue, there's going to be very, very light. We see a little bit trying to work into Washington County right there. Oklahoma City, they've already started on their precipitation. But we know it's coming for the entire 4 states as we have the flood watches indicated for our counties in the green, lasting all the way until Thursday afternoon. Those running all the way down south, just over the Red River into portions of North Texas and as far out to the west as almost to the Oklahoma Panhandle. So that is where indeed the majority of the rain is going to fall. We're waiting on it to formulate out to our west and down to our south. Starting to see a little line through there in central Oklahoma. As far as what we're looking at for the afternoon planner, temperatures high 50s, low 60s. Let's get into the important stuff. And that is the amount of rain that's going to fall beginning later this morning and taking us all the way through Thursday night. And we'll really pick up bands of heavy rain, thunder, and lightning. And then as we transition into midnight, those flooding concerns do not go anywhere when you see the darker red transition into the orange and then to the yellow. Here we are for Thursday morning. By that point in time, we've already picked up easily more than an inch, probably about 2 inches of rain right there. And even though it begins to taper off for the evening hours, it is still light and scattered all the way through Friday morning. Got to anticipate those roads to be flooded. The majority of the hail and high wind appear to want to stay down to our south, so that's one positive aspect of it all. After the rain's done Friday morning, we begin to calm down. Still great looking Mother's Day weekend. Actually going to be warm and sunny all the way up into the 80s there for Mother's Day. Time now to turn our attention to the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll. Supreme Court decision to overturn Roe v. Wade as law of the land would mean abortion access would really depend on where you live. No federal protection would lead to a patchwork of state abortion laws, running the gamut from outright bans to constitutional protections. Michael George has the story from New York.
If the U.S. Supreme Court acts to overturn Roe v. Wade, the issue of abortion rights would be kicked back to the states to decide.
As long as I'm governor of Illinois, and as long as we have a pro-choice legislature, abortion will be legal in this state.
We want fewer abortions in Virginia, not more.
Many states are already prepared for action in both directions. 13 have so-called trigger laws on the books, which would ban or greatly restrict abortion automatically if Roe is overturned. 16 states and the District of Columbia already have laws protecting abortion rights.
The outcome will not be that abortion is suddenly illegal everywhere. The outcome will be that each state will decide.
I think it's going to be chaos, there's no question.
Jody Hicks is president and CEO of Planned Parenthood Affiliates of California, a declared reproductive freedom state.
In California, for instance, we're already seeing patients from Texas, we're already seeing patients from Arizona, and their ban hasn't gone into effect. In many states, patients are going to have to travel outside of the state that they live.
For some who have worked to overturn Roe, change is a long time coming.
We're excited that people are realizing the importance of life from conception to natural death.
Hicks says some 36 million women across the country could be affected, but the greatest impact will be on low-income individuals and people of color. Michael George, CBS News.
Some companies have announced they'll pay for their employees in restricted states to travel to another state to receive care. Our question for you, for or against Roe v. Wade? Let us know, KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Connect to us via our Facebook page. We'll be back with Health Watch next.
Topping Health Watch this morning, hundreds of bacteria are active in our intestines. Good bacteria aids in digestion, but there are harmful bacteria that have the potential to make us sick. The collection of both types of bacteria makes up our gut microbiome. Our overall health is affected by this microbiome, and now researchers believe there's a connection between gut health and skin cancer treatments. KOAM's Dal Quick has details.
Your gut's microbiome has a lot more control when it comes to your overall health than you may think.
They are dynamically interacting with our physiology, with our moods, with our medical health.
Researchers at Oregon State University confirmed that changes to the gut microbiome in melanoma patients allowed them to respond better to their cancer treatment. In their study, some of their patients showed either tumor reduction or disease stabilization that lasted for more than a year. An observational study also found a link between high dietary fiber and better responses to immune therapy for melanoma. So, how do you maintain better gut health?
High fiber, low sodium diets, and certain kinds of food groups can promote good guy bacteria.
Sources of fiber include oats, barley, nuts and seeds, peas, avocado, oranges, and Brussels sprouts. The ideal amount of fiber a person should have a day is 25 to 30 grams. People who tend to eat foods like fruits, vegetables, and whole grains that are high in fiber report better gut health. Dow Quick, KOAM News.
Well, stress can have a negative impact on your gut microbiome. Probiotic supplements can help support your microbiome. However, it's important to talk to your doctor before choosing one, since there are many on the market. No surprise, but your diet can also have a positive effect on your heart. Researchers in Israel found those who intake meals high in zinc, B3, and protein are more likely to see benefits in their cardiac health. The team studied 72 volunteers who took part in a weight loss program for a year. They found those following the Mediterranean diet, which includes foods like whole grains, nuts, and fish, had a positive response to evaluations measuring blood flow and arterial blood vessels. Scientists say this diet can help preserve the heart's well-being. Well, masks may no longer be mandatory on public transit, but the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention still recommends them. Agency released a statement on Tuesday saying anyone older than 2 years old should still wear a face mask while using public transportation like airplanes, trains, and buses. Mandate was set to expire Tuesday, but a federal judge struck it down last month. The CDC has asked the government to appeal the ruling. More information pointing to the notion that getting a yearly COVID-19 booster could become as routine as getting a flu shot. Top officials with the Food and Drug Administration say the U.S. might need to update its COVID vaccines every year. In a report published Monday in the journal JAMA, the officials said the widespread global presence of the virus that causes COVID-19 is the new normal. Researchers also said getting a new updated COVID booster every fall could save lives and help minimize societal disruptions. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Coming up, Oklahoma signs its own Texas-style abortion ban into law following a bombshell Supreme Court lead.
Oklahoma is also where we're eyeballing the beginning of thunderstorm activity that's going to carry us all the way through Thursday. The latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And some visitors from Europe get their kicks on Route 66 just in time for National Tourism Week.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:31. I'm Tanya Bach. We'll get to those stories in just a moment, but first, we've got rain on the way. Let's learn more about it in the Skywatch Weather Center.
And once it starts, Tanya, it's going to be an elongated affair. It's why those flood watches that are already in effect last all the way to Thursday afternoon, and there's a real good chance that those are extended time-wise. Here we are over 7th and Rangeline. Now the morning commute on this Wednesday should be just absolutely fine. 50 degrees is where we stand right now. We have starting to pick up a little bit of rain down to the far south in northeast Oklahoma, northwest Arkansas, barely creeping across the state line. And in McDonald County, OKC, they've already got some pretty heavy rain, but ours is isolated right down in those areas, and it's not raining too hard. What we are going to pay attention to is what is developing right there in the central portion of the Sooner State, and it will also begin to fill up in the central portion of Kansas before it heads our way. Here's a look at the temperatures when you head out the door. A little bit cooler out to the east, 46 and 48 in Monette and Cassville respectively, compared to 54 in Chanute and 52 in Neodesha, Miami, and Fort Scott sitting at an even 50 degrees. Here's the aforementioned flood watches encompassing most of the 4 states, not expiring until 1 p.m. Clouds and the cold front going to temper off the mercury there, probably just low 60s. Here's the important part though. As we get into about, say late morning, there it is, throughout central Kansas, central Oklahoma. And when it gets on us, it's going to rain hard. Bring the thunder and lightning as well. There we are through Wednesday evening. That's why if you're inside working today and you have to travel across a low water bridge, any crossing like that on your way home, be apprised probably you need to find an alternative route, not only for tonight, but tomorrow morning as well. Look at that, continuing all the way through Thursday morning. Little intermittent break for portions on Thursday, but it still just keeps on coming back around at us. And really don't dispatch the rain until later on Friday morning. The severe thunderstorm risk map, wind and hail going to be the main threat combined, of course, with all the hard rain. And at least we got a good looking Mother's Day because we're going to need every second of dry air that we can get our hands on coming off of Wednesday and Thursday.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
We really needed yesterday. Thank goodness we got a break yesterday from the precipitation and we didn't roll this 3 consecutive days.
So if you need to get something done outside, you got a couple hours this morning, but that's it. That's it.
Hurry.
Yeah.
Hurry. Sunrise about 6:20, you'll be able to see, and I'd go right then.
Whew, otherwise, you're just waiting until.
Otherwise, you can wait till the weekend.
There you go. All right, thanks, Michael. Well, the state of Oklahoma bans abortions based on fetal heartbeat detection. On Tuesday, Governor Kevin Stitt signed a Texas-style abortion ban prohibiting abortions when a heartbeat is detected in the fetus. Experts say that's typically about 6 weeks into a pregnancy before some women know they are pregnant. Like the Texas law, it also allows private citizens to sue abortion providers or anyone who helps a woman obtain an abortion for up to $10,000. A McDonald County Elementary School works to increase enrollment of preschoolers and kindergarten-aged children. White Rock Elementary in Pineville says kindergarten enrollment is down this year compared to most years. And now teachers are reaching out to parents of young kids to make sure their students are enrolled. School officials say it's important to know class sizes early so educators can plan ahead.
Catch issues that are going on in pre-K before they get to kindergarten, and we can help solve some of the problems that we might see in kindergarten. It's also just important to have them come into a setting where they can learn to sit, follow directions, play with others, share, some of the things that sometimes kids who don't have siblings don't have to do normally.
Experts also say kids in early childhood education programs usually have improved social skills and do better in school. As we all know, there's a lot to do in Joplin and along Route 66, but this week, National Tourism Week, is a chance to highlight that for people not from the area. KOAM's Jalen Banks spoke with a group of tourists from the Czech Republic about their adventures.
This week marks the start of National Tourism Week. Here in the 4 states, we have an attraction that draws people from all over the world, that being historic Route 66. Today in Joplin, we had a group all the way from the Czech Republic. Route 66 reaches across 8 different states over the span of 2,400 miles, and our group from the Czech Republic will be making that trek, starting in Illinois and ending in Santa Monica, California. The tours are led by Zdeněk Jurásek, president of the Czech Republic Route 66 Association. He's made the journey 32 times, and back home he has a rock radio station that plays music inspired by the route.
We had a communism era, and we are not allowed to travel to the Western countries and to America, and we always wished to visit United States and especially Route 66, and a lot of people here are fulfilling their lifelong dream.
When I asked Zdeněk what his favorite site on Route 66 was, he cannot pick just one.
Oh, no. I have no favor on Route 66 because the favorite is whole Route 66 together. No place are. I cannot prefer any place. All is good together.
According to Patrick Tuttle, director of the Joplin Business Convention Bureau, pre-pandemic 12 to 15,000 tourists from Europe would visit Route 66. He's hoping to see those numbers again as we move past the pandemic. And along with that, our friends from the Czech Republic will too. In Joplin, Jalen Banks, KOAM News.
President of the Czech Route 66 Association will make the trip back across Route 66 later this month, starting in California and ending in Illinois. Fun trip.
All right, we've got alert days set up on Wednesday and Thursday. That is because of our flood watches that we have. The morning commute shouldn't pose any problem. It's not going to kick in until later this morning, but it's going to be that ride home, and it will definitely cause flooding concerns for tomorrow morning's drive as well.
We are discussing Roe versus Wade. A leaked Supreme Court draft opinion set off a national debate over abortion rights across America this week. Since the leak, Chief Justice John Roberts has confirmed the authenticity of the document. In the 98-page opinion, Justice Samuel Alito writes, quote, "We hold that Roe and Casey must be overruled." Now, Casey refers to a 1992 ruling which upheld Roe. Pro-life and pro-choice voices have made themselves heard since the leak. If Roe is overturned, the legality of abortion rights would most likely fall to the states to decide, and state representatives have made their voices and intentions heard. Whatever side of the issue you find yourself on, this conversation extends well past this morning's talker.
Question specifically, for or against Roe versus Wade right now, Tanya, 60% say against compared to the 40% who say they are for it. A couple ways to connect, KOAMNewsNow.com/vote. Of course, you can always connect to the Instapoll as well via the KOAM News Now Facebook page.
All right, that's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News, newly released video shows Ukrainian drone strikes on Russian targets on Snake Island. Plus, we've got the video of a lobster taking on an octopus in the main course event. Bon appetit. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Topping World Watch, new video release shows Ukrainians striking Russian positions on Snake Island, purportedly with a UAV military drone. Ukrainian armed forces say the military drone hit at least 2 Russian military positions on Russian-occupied Snake Island. It's unclear what date the Ukrainian military strikes were conducted, but the video was posted by the Ukrainian Armed Forces Southern Operation Command on Tuesday. CNN has geolocated video and verified its authenticity, showing the strikes. Snake Island and the Ukrainian border guards on it gained significant notoriety at the beginning of the Russian invasion, when the island was targeted by Russian soldiers and the Ukrainian guards refused to surrender. Russian President Vladimir Putin could formally declare war on Ukraine as soon as May 9th, known as Victory Day in Russia. The move would unleash Russia's full military reserves as its invasion of Ukraine continues to falter. In the meantime, there is relief for some Ukrainians bust to safety after weeks of taking shelter inside a steel plant in the besieged city of Mariupol. Gloria Pazmino has the details.
Reunited at last. Evacuees from Mariupol's embattled Azovstal steel plant arrived in Zaporizhzhia by the busloads Tuesday. It's part of an ongoing effort to rescue thousands of Ukrainian civilians from the besieged city of Mariupol. While some arrived to safety, tensions remain high back at the steel plant where hundreds of civilians and soldiers remain. A commander for Ukrainian soldiers said heavy shelling continues at the complex.
We get civilians out of the rubble with ropes. It's the elderly, women, and children.
Meanwhile, U.S. and Western officials believe Russian President Vladimir Putin is one step closer to formally declaring war on Ukraine as soon as May 9th, known as Russia's Victory Day, commemorating the Russian defeat of the Nazis in 1945.
We've seen the Russians really double down on their propaganda efforts, probably, almost certainly, as a means to distract from their tactical and strategic failures on the battlefield in Ukraine.
An official declaration of war would allow Putin to fully mobilize Russia's reserve forces as efforts to take territory in the east and south continue to falter and manpower dwindles.
They have not achieved really any of the strategic objectives that Mr. Putin set out for, and the Ukrainians are fighting back stiffly, bravely, nimbly, skillfully.
I'm Gloria Pazmino reporting.
A lot of potential. WNBA is set to honor Phoenix Mercury All-Star Brittany Griner this season. Griner is still being detained in Russia, where she played during the WNBA offseason. The league announced Tuesday Griner's initials and jersey number will be along the sidelines of all WNBA home courts. She was arrested in February at a Moscow airport after being accused of smuggling a non-Russian approved vape device. The offense is punishable by up to 10 years in prison. Meanwhile, the U.S. State Department has now classified Griner as wrongfully detained in Russia. State Department official says the case is now being handled by the Office of U.S. Special Presidential Envoy for Hostage Affairs. The office played a major role in securing the release of Trevor Reed from Russia last week. Canadians gathered to remember late legendary ice hockey player Guy Lafleur. A national funeral for Lafleur was held at Mary Queen of the World Cathedral, downtown Montreal on Tuesday. Lafleur's son and fellow players were among the speakers to pay tribute to the NHL Hall of Famer. Lafleur died at the age of 70 following a battle with lung cancer. He played for the Montreal Canadiens for 14 years during the 70s and the 80s and helped the team win 5 Stanley Cup trophies. He's still the all-time scoring leader for the team. Will be missed. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back with the news you need to know before you head out the door. Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. A judge sentences a Coffeyville, Kansas man to prison for a shooting death. Ruben Ruiz Robles is sentenced to a maximum of 32 months for the April 2021 death of Chris Temple in Coffeyville. As part of a deal, Ruiz Robles pleaded no contest to involuntary manslaughter in the case. The prosecutor dropped the original charge of first-degree murder after 2 key witnesses chose not to testify on the state's behalf. A judge in Jasper County, Missouri sentences a man to multiple terms of life in prison for child sex crimes. Daniel Chavez was found guilty of 4 counts of statutory sodomy, 1 count of child molestation, 1 count of attempted statutory sodomy, and 2 counts of furnishing pornographic material to a minor. All 4 of the statutory sodomy charges carry a life sentence. The rest of the sentences will run concurrent to those sentences. What piece of 4-state TV history will be forever remembered at Missouri Southern? Tuesday night, the university's Regional Broadcasting Hall of Fame inducted the program Melody Matinee. Melody Matinee aired for more than 30 years on KOAM TV. It featured a long list of musical performers who became local legends. Dale Switzer, who produced our recent documentary on the program, says Melody Matinee and its host, Lou Martin, captured the spirit of the 4 states. Staff members at Meadowlark Elementary in Pittsburgh are showing their appreciation for one another. One staff member came up with a game called Survivor for teachers and staff to play this week. Each day, staff members spin a wheel with different challenges on it for prizes. Those challenges include things like recreating pictures of animals, leaving a nice note for someone, or doing a dance. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Our Wednesday morning rain so far has stayed south of our highlighted counties, especially for northeast Oklahoma. We've kind of skirted past that. So really no worries on the morning commute. Temperatures right now in between 46 and 54 degrees, similar in nature to what we had yesterday. Now, we know the rain is a-coming, and there's a look at our timing for today. You'll notice once we get started, we are not going to back off. That is exactly why we've got flood watches lasting all the way into Thursday. Here's Future Track. As we roll through, we'll back up here a little bit, get our timing for this morning. We start off pretty light and scattered until about 9 a.m. and then look at this thing gather out to the west and to the south. So as it moves through, it's going to be on us for the afternoon hours, take us all the way through the evening and the nighttime as well. Extreme heavy rain tonight into Thursday morning to go along with the thunder and the lightning. And even though we get a little intermittent break there Thursday, it just keeps on backfilling on us and really doesn't want to finish until Friday. We're still looking at a great Mother's Day weekend, and we're going to need every minute of dry air we can get our hands on coming after Wednesday and Thursday. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
Talk about a cage max. Lobster versus octopus. It's not some cheesy new move with bad special effects. It's video from inside a lobster trap showing an underwater fight to the finish. Jeannie Moose reports.
If you think lobsters have it bad,
dinner time,
getting boiled, wait till you see the heat they take while caught in a lobster trap. Now we have a bird's eye view, and yes, that is an aquatic bird. Florida Fish and Wildlife researchers placed a camera inside lobster traps and watched a life and death struggle with an octopus.
Lobster versus octopus, who won?
Well, the octopus won in that one.
The octopus paralyzed the lobster.
They basically inject those digestive juices into it, and then they slurp it up like a Slurpee.
Assistant research scientist Casey Butler says they knew lobsters were dying in traps, but didn't know how. Now they see how predators like triggerfish attack, and the lobsters try to mount a group defense, waving their antennae.
Those spiny antennae are their form of defense.
Even a diving cormorant stuck its head inside the trap.
Monster after monster keeps sticking their head down in their cage.
Yeah, that was one, let me tell you, that I was not expecting when I was reviewing that video, and all of a sudden a bird head pops in.
And imagine being trapped when a shark wanders in. Butler says the shark seemed freaked out to find itself in the trap, didn't eat any lobsters, managed to find its way out. Lobsters must feel like they have a target on their backs. How would you like to be a picture on a bib? They're boiled,
Twist it right off.
have their tails and claws twisted off. They take a pounding, and now we find out they risk being another creature's dinner while waiting to become our dinner. Jeannie Moose, CNN, New York.
Oh, but they taste so good. We've got more from Jeannie Moose coming up when the KOAM Morning News switches over to Fox 14 at 7. Stick around for another look at your forecast after the break.
Here's a look down to the south, and we're beginning to see the moisture gather. If you're going to be on I-44, you're definitely going to run into it earlier than what it's going to be across the 4 states widespread. Over, over on I-49, we're starting to see a little bit move in out of northwest Arkansas, right across the state line into McDonald and Berry County. Haven't picked up any lightning with that, but gives you an idea if you're going to be on I-49 as well, headed down to the south, you're going to run into that. As far as the widespread rain, that'll be later this morning, and remember, we've got the flood watches that are in effect all the way into Thursday. The farther south that you do go, even portions of northeast Oklahoma and our highlighted counties do find themselves in that low category on the severe thunderstorm risk map for high winds and hail. But flooding is going to be our widespread problem until we get to the weekend. There's a look at our temperatures, and we'll be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
Coming up, Oklahoma signs its own Texas-style abortion ban into law following a bombshell Supreme Court leak.
As the rain begins to gather, it is going to be a wet one, not only for today, but all the way almost to the weekend. We'll have the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And some visitors from Europe get their kicks on Route 66 just in time for National Tourism Week.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 6 a.m. I'm Tanya Buck. We'll get to those stories in just a moment, but first, let's go to Michael Hayslip where we've got rain coming in very soon.
Clouds already gathering. Yeah, now we're just waiting for it to pop, it feels like. 7th and range line, we're still quiet. 50 degrees is where we stand temperature-wise, but as we turn our attention down to the south, we are beginning to see it work its way into our counties of northeast Oklahoma and over the state line from northwest Arkansas into southwest Missouri. So it's beginning, and it's going to start off pretty scattered, but every now and then we see a good pop right there coming out of Benton County about to cross into Berry County. And then in the Veneta area, we see a little one beginning to bubble up there as well. As far as what we're looking at nationally, yeah, we're going to keep our eyes on central Oklahoma and central Kansas because that's the formation that's going to head toward us. Light jacket will suffice this morning, 46 to about 52 degrees, similar in nature to what we had yesterday, but what is not similar compared to yesterday is going to be the amount of rain that we begin to pick up. Thank goodness yesterday was dry. Flood watches in effect. We'll just go ahead and have them blink on us this morning as we got a time frame. Let's make sure they didn't extend that time frame when you see something like that. Now, we're still going to keep those from Thursday until 1 p.m. Looks like they have extended those out to the west, however, because we're looking at, easily 1 to 3 inches. We'll see pockets that'll certainly have more than that. As it begins to gather, as we said, through portions of central Oklahoma and central Kansas, and then later this morning into the noon hour on us, take us all the way through the nighttime, especially from about, say 8 to midnight. Watch this thing roll through right there. That's got the thunder, the lightning, the heavy, heavy rain. We're going to get a little sporadic break Thursday morning. Not enough for the water to recede, however, because it just keeps on rolling through all the way through Thursday night into portions of Friday morning. Farther south that you go, the higher the threat for high winds and hail, but everybody is locked in with flooding concerns until we get to Friday afternoon.
All right, well, I'll be looking forward to the weekend, that's for sure.
Mother's Day weekend's going to be beautiful and warm. That'll be a nice little change. It's been actually a kind of a chilly start, and I know we've, rightfully so, we're focusing so much on the flooding concerns. It's been a chilly May so far. Granted, this is 3 full days in. This will be our 4th full day, but yeah, it's been quite a bit below average.
All right, thanks, Michael. Well, a judge sentences a Coffeyville, Kansas man to prison for a shooting death. Ruben Ruiz Robles is sentenced to a maximum of 32 months for the April 2021 death of Chris Temple in Coffeyville. As part of a deal, Ruiz Robles pleaded no contest to involuntary manslaughter in the case. Prosecutor dropped the original charge of first-degree murder after 2 key witnesses chose not to testify on the state's behalf. A judge in Jasper County, Missouri sentences a man to multiple terms of life in prison for child sex crimes. Daniel Chavez was found guilty of 4 counts of statutory sodomy, 1 count of child molestation, 1 count of attempted statutory sodomy, 2 counts of furnishing pornographic material to a minor. All 4 of the statutory sodomy charges carry a life sentence. The rest of the sentences will run concurrent to those sentences. An Ottawa County, Oklahoma man is sentenced for sexually abusing a minor. Authorities say in 2020, 39-year-old Jeremy Lawhorn contacted the Ottawa County Sheriff's Office to report that he needed to confess a crime. Lawhorn admitted to inappropriately touching a 12-year-old. After a dispute over jurisdiction, he was federally indicted for sexual abuse of a minor in Indian country. And this week, a federal judge sentenced Lawhorn to 30 months in prison, followed by 10 years of supervised release. Abortions are now banned in Oklahoma after a fetal heartbeat is detected. On Tuesday, Governor Kevin Stitt signed a Texas-style abortion ban prohibiting abortions when a heartbeat is detected in the fetus. Experts say that's typically about 6 weeks into a pregnancy before some women know they are pregnant. And like the Texas law, it also allows private citizens to sue abortion providers or anyone who helps a woman obtain an abortion for up to $10,000. This week marks the start of National Tourism Week. One of the main tourist attractions in the country is Route 66. On Tuesday, a tourist group of 25 people from the Czech Republic stopped in Joplin while touring Route 66. Their trek started in Illinois and will end in Santa Monica, California. The group's president says he can't pick a favorite spot along the route.
Oh, no, I have no favor on Route 66 because the favorite is whole Route 66 together. No place are. I cannot prefer any place. All is good together.
The Czech Route 66 Association will make the trip back across Route 66 later this month, starting in California and ending in Illinois. Well, a piece of four-state TV history will be forever remembered at Missouri Southern. On Tuesday night, the university's Regional Broadcasting Hall of Fame inducted the program Melody Matinee. Melody Matinee aired for more than 30 years on KOAM TV. Featured a long list of musical performers who became local legends. Dale Switzer, who produced our recent documentary on the program, says Melody Matinee and its host, Lou Martin, captured the spirit of the four states.
You're always going to see something that you would probably like. It's an eclectic show. And even play music I like from time to time.
Former executive editor of the Joplin Globe, Carol Stark, was also inducted into the Hall of Fame. Well, today, back in 1970, the National Guard kills 4 students in Kent State shootings. In Kent, Ohio, 28 National Guardsmen fired their weapons at a group of anti-war demonstrators on the Kent State University campus. This action killed 4, wounded 8, and permanently paralyzed 1. The tragedy was a watershed moment for the nation, a nation divided by the conflict in Vietnam and further galvanized the anti-war movement.
My aunt was on her way to pick up Sandy Schuer. And we were in speech therapy together.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Yup.
Got a family connection?
Then my uncle went and picked up my aunt after they found out Sandy had been shot. Weather trend for today, highs in the low 60s. And remember, we've got flood watches abound lasting until Thursday. Severe weather threat stays to the south. That's going to be wind and hail, but everybody is going to get a dose of rain by the time it's done.
That's a look at this morning's top stories in weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, want to donate to a good cause? We've got the Girard Medical Center with an event just for you that you don't want to miss out on. We'll have all the details. Plus, it's day 2 about Roe versus Wade, which is more than likely to come to an end. We'll have the latest updates on it and how people are handling it. And trying to lose weight can be hard for some. We'll have the latest study on weight loss during the last year. You're watching the KOAM Morning News, more real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Topping Nation Watch this morning, from coast to coast, Americans are reacting strongly to the bombshell report that the Supreme Court is preparing to overturn Roe v. Wade. An investigation is underway into how Politico obtained the draft opinion It was written about a case regarding Mississippi's state law banning abortions after the first 15 weeks of pregnancy. Elise Preston has details.
My choice! Protesters across the country are voicing their opinions following a report that the Supreme Court may be just weeks away from gutting Roe v. Wade.
As a sign says, abortion is murder, and I feel that way, period.
It's a war on women! Some women's health clinics are reassuring patients that nothing has been made official yet.
Abortion is still legal in all 50 states. Your appointment is safe. Providers are there. Go to your appointment.
26 states are poised to outlaw abortion or weaken access. 16 are going in the other direction, with laws designed to protect abortion rights.
And if you live in a state where they're so willing to strip away your rights, you come to New York. This is your safe harbor.
Chief Justice John Roberts confirmed the draft opinion is authentic, but stresses it is not the final decision. He ordered an investigation into how the document leaked out.
What's unique about today is this is the first time we've had somebody on the inside try to attack the institution.
Republican lawmakers focused on the leak more than the contents, something Democrats say is on purpose.
They spent a decade, 2 decades, trying to repeal Roe, and now they won't own up to it. They're like the dog that caught the bus.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says he'll bring a bill protecting abortion rights up for vote, though it's likely to fail due to a Republican filibuster. Elise Preston, CBS News, Washington.
Supreme Court is expected to release its final official opinion in either June or July. That's a look at today's top national story. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 2 special guests here in the studio, and it has warmed my morning. It has made my morning to see Ruth Dooling and Bailey Cares, not just to see you, but to see you in person. Thank you so much for joining us. Ruth, she is the CEO of Girard Medical Center, and Bailey joins us this morning because she is the president of the Girard Medical Center Foundation. And coming up this Saturday, we have the big annual event that sponsors the foundation. So, Bailey, I'd like to start with you from your president role. As far as the importance of not only this event, but also the foundation as a whole when it comes to healthcare, not only at Girard, but hospital foundations. People probably don't realize how important they are.
Right. This is a huge fundraiser for us, and we have a lot of silent auction items as well as live auction items, including a Patrick Mahomes autographed helmet.
Oh, wow.
And a 3-night stay in a 5-bedroom house in Florida, and a bunch of other things. But this money goes to help the hospital purchase equipment, and Ruth can go on about the importance of it.
And so once again, this is coming up Saturday. This is at the Wild Iris Event Center off of 620th in Mulberry. So Ruth, from your perspective, from your leadership perspective at the hospital, what does the foundation mean to you and your physicians? Well, your entire staff, as a matter of fact.
Exactly. You know, the foundation we're celebrating the 25th year of the hospital foundation. And over the years, they've been just a huge support to the hospital as far as helping us with different projects and things that we wouldn't normally, purchase, but we're able to do that because of the foundation. So some of the items that they've helped us with over the years, a car for the home health division, lots of IT upgrades, hospital beds, IT issues, all kinds of things like that. Whenever we have a smallish project that comes along, we look to the foundation to step in and kind of help us with those purchases.
Because many people don't understand that how number one, the cost of those items that you brought up, and
Sure.
really coming together as a community to bring these things to fruition. So the May Day Fiesta, once again, is coming up on Saturday. Bailey, as far as the community support that you've received as silent auction, but also we've got live music as well. Talk about the community coming together to support the foundation.
Yeah, it's great to see the community come together. It's always a big turnout to see all the people from all the surrounding communities come together. We've gotten a lot of support from all the local businesses donating items for our auction, and it's just been great.
It would be, and it is a huge understatement, and so I don't want this to come off as flippant. Leadership roles in healthcare over the past 3 years, I can't fathom what you've been through. But now we're starting to see events take place. People are scheduling appointments. People are showing up at the hospital in person. What does that mean to you, Ruth, as the CEO, the leader of this hospital, that people are able to convene and actually have a party to support healthcare?
That's a good point. And it has been interesting. It's been a long couple of years, but the resiliency of healthcare workers, I think, is on everyone's mind. It is really great to see all the community coming back to the hospital to have elective procedures, to have their lab work and radiology exams and things like that. So it's been really nice. Can't say enough about the employees at Girard Medical Center, as well as all the healthcare workers and the resiliency they've had in sticking through this and coming out the other side. It's so nice to have a lot less community positivity and getting back to normal. So we're really enjoying that.
So once again, this is the May Day Fiesta. It's the Wild Iris Event Center. You can find that off of 620th Road in Mulberry. And once again, it supports the Girard Medical Center Foundation. Bailey, now you got me hooked. How do I get my tickets?
I'll get you some tickets. We have some tickets for sale at the Girard Medical Center as well, so we'd like to see you guys.
A number of sponsors as well. I understand that you can pick them up at those businesses?
No, but if you can also buy tickets at the door. So if you just want to show up on May 7th, our event's from 4 p.m. until 10 p.m. and we'll have live music and a food truck and a lot of auction items.
Live music by Stone Country. What are some of the other live auction items that you were able to secure that you thought were really neat?
We also have a wood swing set, 3-night stay in Branson.
Nice.
Some patio furniture. I mean, the list goes on. We have a lot of items this year, so you'll want to come see it.
So once again, Wild Iris Event Center right off of 620th in Mulberry. Going to run this thing from 4 to 10. On Saturday. Chances are, if you're kind to Bailey, maybe a little bit past 10. Usually those foundation parties, they have a tendency to do that. Ruth, as we wrap up here and you look back on a quarter century of foundation at the Girard Medical Center, because you've been such an important and integral part of healthcare, not only at Girard Medical Center, but through your volunteerism and everything that you've been associated with, whether it be the hospital, whether it be the PSU nursing program. As you kind of reflect on that quarter century that the foundation's been around, how do you encompass it and how do you explain it to people?
Well, you know, I think mostly it's about the people that have been involved. So we've been blessed, and as I think about all the volunteers that have helped with the foundation over the past 25 years, just tons of really great community-minded people like Bailey. Lisa Chasso is also the program director for the fundraising events, and she's done a great job. Just all the people that have come before those folks. It just seems like every year the foundation gets better and better, and it's mostly because of those relationships with people. And it's just always surprising to me the people that will volunteer their time. I mean, these are a lot of young people with young families that take time out of their lives to help support healthcare in rural communities, which is so important to keep our doors open too.
I find it interesting that you say that we're blessed to have people like Bailey in the foundation, because we are. At the same point in time, we are blessed to have healthcare leaders like you that ushered us through the past 3 years and now are getting us back on the right track. I thank you, Ruth, for everything that you've done.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And Bailey, thank you and best of luck. So once again, you can pick up your tickets at the Girard Medical Center for the May Day Fiesta coming up on Saturday. It's at the Wild Iris Event Center out on 620th Road. We'll put directions on KOAMnewsnow.com. It's really easy to find. Or you can grab those tickets at the door. Opens up at 4 o'clock, going to run it until 10 o'clock. Live music, food truck, and a whole bunch of great silent auction items. Ruth and Bailey, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having us.
Have a great morning. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, we know the risk of COVID transmission is much less outside, and our researchers are testing new technology that could make indoor air as safe as outdoors. Michael George has more.
As these dental students practice on mannequins, this lamp is disinfecting the air.
We're excited because we're the first ones to test it.
Researchers at Columbia University are trying out a new kind of ultraviolet light called far UVC light. Dr. David Brenner says unlike the UV light currently used to sterilize hospital rooms and equipment when people are not around, these lamps use a different wavelength that is not known to be harmful to people.
This far UVC light really can't penetrate into our skin or into our eyes.
Dr. Brenner co-authored new research showing far UVC light took less than 5 minutes to kill 98% of indoor airborne microbes, which means it could possibly reduce the transmission of diseases such as flu and COVID.
We know there are going to be new variants that haven't reached us yet, and the nice thing about far UVC is it should be effective against every type of virus.
The lamps can be installed in the ceiling and cost about $200 each. Dr. Brenner says we could one day see these in hospitals, schools, and on planes.
Where are we transmitting COVID? Where are we transmitting influenza? It's almost entirely indoors because you have so much ventilation outdoors. I think what we have achieved with far UVC is the equivalent of stepping outside.
Dr. Stephen Erdy is excited the research is being tested at a dental clinic, since many microbes in the mouth can get into the air.
This is a great opportunity to decrease that load so that when the patients are here, the providers are safer and other patients in the same facility are safer.
A potential game changer that could possibly prevent the next pandemic. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Scientists say another advantage to this UV technology is that viruses and bacteria cannot develop a resistance, which can happen with vaccines and drugs. New survey finds 3/4 of obese adults tried to lose weight in the past year, but most have not been successful. The survey of nearly 2,000 adults with obesity from 6 European countries shows 81% used diet and exercise to try to lose weight, but only 25% achieved good weight loss. New research in Germany highlights the importance of regular medication training for nurses. Survey of 485 trained nurses finds nearly half made at least one error administering medications within the last year. Nurses who received recent training were less likely to make mistakes. And markers of heart health and diabetes are detectable in overweight children from the age of 6 years old. That's according to a new study of nearly 1,000 Danish children. Overweight and obese children are more likely to remain overweight and obese into adolescence and adulthood, increasing their risk of heart disease and diabetes later in life. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Coming up, Oklahoma signs its own Texas-style abortion ban into law following a bombshell Supreme Court leak.
Rain beginning to move in from the south, just the beginning of what's going to be an elongated thunderstorm affair. We'll have the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And some visitors from Europe get their kicks on Route 66 just in time for National Tourism Week.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 6:30 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. We'll get to those stories in just a moment, but first, let's go to Michael Hayslip.
Turn the camera south down range line because that's where the action is beginning. Now, Joplin has stayed dry so far, 50 degrees right now at Joplin Regional Airport. But here's why we're focusing in on the south, as we're now seeing the rain begin to pop up in our counties of northeast Oklahoma. And then it's almost a separate band. This one kind of formulated here in the Sooner State. And Mother Nature almost wrote a geographic line. That rain that we're seeing that's made its way as far north as Newton County into McDonald and Berry counties as well actually originated in northwest Arkansas. It's rather sporadic at times, kind of light, but like I said, we're just beginning. Look at this mess they already have down in Oklahoma City. It's going to sit down there for a little bit, gather up some energy, and then head our way. But if you're going to be on I-44 or even 49 for that matter and head down to the southwest, that's what you're going to be running into. And from where we started, we're starting to see a whole lot more green show up there in the Sooner State, and it will work toward us. Our temperatures ranging from about 47 to 52, similar to what we had yesterday at this point in time, a little less windy. Weather trend for today, look at those panels. Once it starts, it doesn't want to back off, and that is exactly why the flood watches run all the way until 1 o'clock Thursday afternoon. As we approach the noon hour, we see the heavier rain make its way in from the southwest, and it's going to be an afternoon filled with not only heavy rain, but thunder and lightning as well. As we get closer to midnight, we've got a large band that sweeps through. That's going to pack wind and hail, especially for portions of northeast Oklahoma and northwest Arkansas as well. It looks like we get a little intermittent break, but don't be deceived by that. It continues to come down Thursday, and don't let your guard down essentially until we get to Friday morning. 1 to 3 inches is going to be easy to pick up. We'll probably see places there will be around 3.5, 4 inches, Tanya, by the time we wrap things up Thursday night, Friday morning. Great looking Mother's Day, everybody.
Yeah, no kidding. Should be a lovely
Look at
day.
me go glass half full right there.
Yeah. We'll get past this middle part of the week and we'll be in for a beautiful weekend.
Just plan on the flooding, folks. Plan on it right now. You know the areas in your neighborhoods, and don't be surprised by them, I guess would be my advice.
There you go. Be prepared. Have those routes ready for you.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Michael. A judge sentences a Coffeyville, Kansas man to prison for a shooting death. Ruben Ruiz Robles is sentenced to a maximum of 32 months for the April 2021 death of Chris Temple in Coffeyville. As part of a deal, Ruiz Robles pleaded no contest to involuntary manslaughter in the case. Prosecutor dropped the original charge of first-degree murder after two key witnesses chose not to testify on the state's behalf. A judge in Jasper County, Missouri sentences a man to multiple terms of life in prison for child sex crimes. Daniel Chavez was found guilty of 4 counts of statutory sodomy, 1 count of child molestation, 1 count of attempted statutory sodomy, and 2 counts of furnishing pornographic material to a minor. All 4 of the statutory sodomy charges carry a life sentence. The rest of the sentences will run concurrent to those sentences. An Ottawa County, Oklahoma man is sentenced for sexually abusing a minor. Authorities say in 2020, 39-year-old Jeremy Lawhorn contacted the Ottawa County Sheriff's Office to report that he needed to confess a crime. Lawhorn admitted to inappropriately touching a 12-year-old. After a dispute over jurisdiction, he was federally indicted for sexual abuse of a minor in Indian country. This week, a federal judge sentenced Lawhorn to 30 months in prison, followed by 10 years supervised release. Abortions are now banned in Oklahoma after a fetal heartbeat is detected. On Tuesday, Governor Kevin Stitt signed a Texas-style abortion ban prohibiting abortions when a heartbeat is detected in the fetus. Experts say that's typically about 6 weeks into a pregnancy before some women know they are pregnant. And like the Texas law, it also allows private citizens to sue abortion providers or anyone who helps a woman obtain an abortion for up to $10,000. This week marks the start of National Tourism Week. One of the main tourist attractions in the country is Route 66. On Tuesday, a tourist group of 25 people from the Czech Republic stopped in Joplin while touring Route 66. Their trek started in Illinois and will end in Santa Monica, California.
This is National Tourism Week, and we've had some great visitors come in this week, and a lot of them come through along Route 66. And pre-pandemic, we were seeing about 12 to 15,000 Europeans a year come across Route 66.
The Czech Route 66 Association will make the trip back across Route 66 later this month, starting in California and ending in Illinois. A piece of 4-state TV history will be forever remembered at Missouri Southern University's Regional Broadcasting Hall of Fame on Tuesday. Inducted the program Melody Matinee. Melody Matinee aired for more than 30 years on KOAM TV. Featured a long list of musical performers who became local legends. Dale Switzer, who produced our recent documentary on the program, says Melody Matinee and its host Lou Martin captured the spirit of the 4 states. McDonald County Elementary School is working to increase enrollment of preschoolers and kindergarten-aged children. White Rock Elementary in Pineville says kindergarten enrollment is down this year compared to most years. And now teachers are reaching out to parents of young kids to make sure their students are enrolled. School officials say it's important to know class sizes early so educators can plan ahead.
For kindergarten, it's important to know those numbers in the spring so that we can plan for class sizes and the number of classes that we need in the fall. It also gives parents the opportunity to meet the teachers before school starts in the fall so that they have a face to a name when they maybe see a welcome postcard in the mail over the summer.
Experts also say kids in early childhood education programs usually have improved social skills and do better in school. Well, staff members at Meadowlark Elementary in Pittsburgh are showing their appreciation for one another. One staff member came up with a game called Survivor for teachers and staff to play this week. Each day, staff members spin a wheel with different challenges on it for prizes. Those challenges include things like recreating pictures of animals, leaving a nice note for someone, or doing a dance.
It is Teacher Appreciation Week, and so I set up a Survivor challenge for them where they can come in and spin the wheel, and there's a list of fortunes depending on where they land on the wheel. They get to do whatever the fortune is, and then they can earn points for it.
Grand prize will be handed out to the game's winner at the end of the week. Today, back in 1979, Margaret Thatcher became Britain's first female prime minister. Margaret Thatcher, leader of the Conservative Party, becomes the prime minister. The Oxford-educated chemist and lawyer took office the day after the Conservatives won a 44-seat majority in general parliamentary elections. Thatcher was also the first woman president of the Oxford Conservative Association. She ran for Parliament in Dartford in 1950. She was defeated but garnered a number of impressive votes in the generally liberal district. In 1959, she was elected to Parliament as a Conservative for Finchley, North London district, and proceeded to rise through the ranks of the Conservative Party. In 1967, she joined the Shadow Cabinet, sitting in opposition to Harold Wilson's ruling Labour Party. In 1970, Thatcher became the Secretary of State for Education and Science under Edward Heath, and in 1975, she replaced Heath as the leader of the Conservative Party. The Iron Lady.
Mm-hmm. I figured that you may have a story that would wrap her up with the royals.
Well, of course. Well, she served as all of her roles she served as, while Queen Elizabeth was, of course, right next to her.
Supposedly a tad bit of a contentious relationship.
Yes. It was, as I understand, what I've read, it was a love-hate relationship.
Yes.
Kind of,
yes. All right, here's a look at the rain that we have coming down right now in the south. So we're beginning to spread geographically here. And like I said, this is just the beginning. It's going to be widespread by the noon hour. Yet to pick up any lightning associated with our morning rain so far. And remember, flooding our biggest concern because it's going to last for 2 days.
That's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News, take me out to the ball game. Jackie Robinson's bat sells for over $1 million over the weekend. Take a look. Plus, Politico gained a document and released it to the public, which makes it look like Roe versus Wade is being overturned. And today we want to know, are you for or against Roe v. Wade? Let you weigh in. We'll be right back. In Consumer Watch this morning, stocks moved higher on Tuesday. The Dow gained 67 points. The Nasdaq was up 27. The S&P 500 added 20. All eyes turn to the Federal Reserve today as it wraps up its two-day policy meeting. Central Bank is expected to raise interest rates by a ½ percentage point, largest increase in 2 decades as it looks to slow inflation. Chairman Jerome Powell will also hold a press conference offering his thoughts on the global and U.S. economies. Earnings season rolls on, but it wasn't a smooth ride for Lyft. Shares plunged 25% in after-hours trading. While the company saw higher ridership, Lyft says it needs to increase investments in driver incentives. Uber hopes to see better results when it reports to its quarterly report card today. And a bat used by Jackie Robinson sold for more than $1 million in an auction over the weekend.
Keep going.
The iconic ball player used the bat during the 1949 All-Star Game, 2 years after breaking baseball's color barrier with the Brooklyn Dodgers. Robinson hit a double and scored 3 runs, but his National League team lost the game.
And on that winning team, Tanya asked a great question the other day, and I had to look it up. She said, was Jackie Robinson the first Major League player that was black to play in an All-Star game? And I said, I would think so, but then there's Larry Doby of the Cleveland Indians. Sure enough, Jackie Robinson's first All-Star game in 1949 was also Larry Doby's first All-Star game. Now, technically, Jackie Robinson was the first black player in an All-Star game because he was part of the National League starting lineup where Larry Doby would come in and pinch run in the 5th inning and stay in the game. Larry Doby's team, however, beat the National League.
Yes, so Doby was the first one to win.
There you go, yeah,
an All-Star
good point.
Game. So there you go, he got a first out of that too.
And I'll tell you what, man, I had the privilege actually to hang around Larry Doby for a summer. And man, they don't make dudes nicer than that. They do not make dudes nicer than him. All right, our something to talk about this morning on the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll, Roe versus Wade. A leaked Supreme Court draft opinion set off national debate over abortion rights across America this week. And since the leak, Chief Justice John Roberts has confirmed the authenticity of the document. It's a 98-page opinion. Associate Justice Samuel Alito writes, quote, "We hold that Roe and Casey must be overruled." Casey's the 1992 ruling which upheld Roe. Pro-life and pro-choice voices have made themselves heard since the leak. If Roe is overturned, the legality of abortion rights most likely falls to states. That's where they'll decide, and state representatives have certainly made their voices and intentions heard. Whatever side of the issue you find yourself on, this conversation will extend well past our morning talker. Specifically, though, we're asking for or against Roe versus Wade. Right now, 58% say that you're for keeping it, 42% say no, that you would like to see it changed. Once again, each and every morning, KOAMNewsNow.com/vote, or connect to us via our KOAM News Now Facebook page. We're going to come back and celebrate birthdays and anniversaries, but first, off to the Big Apple to check in with Mr. Tony.
I'm Tony DeCopel. Coming up on CBS Mornings, how to handle your picky eater. We'll show you how to keep your cool in the kitchen when your child says no thank you. You're hoping they say thank you. That's coming up on CBS Mornings.
We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, John Van Houten. Master Sergeant Van Houten served in the Army from 1969 to 1970. He served in Vietnam. During his time in the service, he earned the Bronze Star and the Korean Service Medals, among several other medals. Native of Independence, Kansas, we thank you. Today's four-state hero, John Van Houten.
That's a cool hat right there. That's how you get it started, Mr. Miles Reeves. Miles is celebrating his 3rd birthday in Columbus. I gotta ask Miles where he got that thing. I love it. Or if he'll let me wear it.
All right, and we've got Rayleigh Rose Blackledge turning 4 years old on this 4th day of May in Joplin. Happy birthday.
Another nice bright bow. I like that. Jackson Model turning number 9. Jackson, a very happy birthday with wishes, love from Mom, Dad, Mimi, and Papa. Jackson is in Pittsburgh.
Hey, that's one of Leif's little buddies. Happy birthday, Jackson. And a happy birthday going out to Brinley Weir, turning 10 years old this year. Brinley is in Girard.
Jasper Cox has a 12th birthday. Jasper, this comes with love from Dad, Mom, Caden, Cadence, and Wayne. Jasper celebrating in Columbus.
And it's a sweet 16. Oh my goodness, she's all grown up now. Lily Grace Sakani Ray, happy birthday to you. Wow, I can't believe you're already 16 years old.
Mine eyes deceived me when I looked at the list. I honestly thought it said Little Grace. And then I was like, oh, and I look at the big screen. I was like, oh, Lily Grace. I don't know, I thought Little Grace was maybe a nickname. Clinton Williams, a happy 43rd birthday. And Clinton, he is one of our 4-state heroes. He served in the United States Marine Corps from 1997 to 2001. And Clinton, now that you're back home with the family, I want you to know these birthday wishes come with love from the girls as they celebrate in Nevada.
Lovely family picture there. Love it. And Miss Deborah Trim turning double nickels today, 55 years old in Thayer. Happy birthday, Deborah.
Renda Whitworth, a happy 57th birthday, and what a gorgeous picture right there. Happy birthday to Renda in Chanute.
All right, and Connie Edwards. We didn't have your picture yesterday, so now we got it. We're gonna show it. Happy 58th. Hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Connie, for coming back and getting that picture on. That is awesome of you right there. All right, this woman right here, I'll tell you what, everything that she has done is just truly amazing. I talk about people being salt of the earth. Well, you're not going to find a nicer woman who has done nicer things for people that they don't even know about. And that's the amazing thing about Wanda. She does all this wonderful stuff, and then half the time people don't even know it was her that was behind it. You know how much I love you. The entire Hayslip family loves you, Miss Wanda. And a very happy birthday in Crestline.
All right, and we've got a 43rd anniversary for the Hensleys. Congrats going out to Steve and Debbie in Jasper, Missouri.
I like the shirts. I think that's a cool anniversary picture right there. I like that, Steve and Debbie. Happy birthday and happy anniversary to all on this May the 4th. That's where you can send them into birthdays@KOAMTV.com. You can also go to our website at KOAMNewsNow.com. Here's Tanya Bach with a very important birthday announcement.
That's right. You can be a part of the KOAM Birthday Club by going to our website and signing up. And once you do, you'll get special deals from local businesses. Go to KOAMNewsNow.com and sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club today.
All right, here's what we've got cooking when we transition over to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. An intruder claiming to be a priest slips into the barracks of the Guards of the Queen. Security slip-up causing a major concern just down the road from Windsor Castle, as a matter of fact. We're going to have that story and find out what became of the intruder when we transition over to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. On the Skywatch Storm Tracker, we're seeing the rain begin to move in from the south. The lightning has stayed down in the OKC region, but now beginning to make its way up 35 toward Ponca City. So while we see that northerly movement, an indicator that it's creeping closer to us. Now, we haven't seen a whole lot of rain as of yet, but now up into Newton County, it's getting closer to Jasper County. We see a little drop or two in Cherokee County as well coming up out of Ottawa. So we are underway. We are underway. Now, really, we're not going to pick up a whole lot of serious action until later this afternoon, or well, I should say later this morning. Around the noon hour, it's going to be on us. And remember, flood watches all the way till Thursday. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. A judge sentences a Coffeyville, Kansas man to prison for a shooting death. Ruben Ruiz Robles is sentenced to a maximum of 32 months for the April 2021 death of Chris Temple in Coffeyville. As part of a deal, Ruiz Robles pleaded no contest to involuntary manslaughter in the case. Prosecutor dropped the original charge of first-degree murder after two key witnesses chose not to testify on the state's behalf. A judge in Jasper County, Missouri sentences a man to multiple terms of life in prison for child sex crimes. Daniel Chavez was found guilty of 4 counts of statutory sodomy, 1 count of child molestation, 1 count of attempted statutory sodomy, 2 counts of furnishing pornographic material to a minor. All 4 of the statutory sodomy charges carry a life sentence. The rest of the sentences will run concurrent to those sentences. A piece of 4-state TV history will be forever remembered at Missouri Southern. On Tuesday night, the university's Regional Broadcasting Hall of Fame inducted the program Melody Matinee. Melody Matinee aired for more than 30 years on KOAM TV, featured a long list of musical performers who became local legends. Dale Switzer, who produced our recent documentary on the program, says Melody Matinee and its host, Lou Martin, captured the spirit of the 4 states. And staff members at Meadowlark Elementary in Pittsburgh are showing their appreciation for one another. One staff member came up with a game called Survivor for teachers and staff to play this week. Each day, staff members spin a wheel with different challenges on it for prizes. And those challenges include things like recreating pictures of animals, leaving a nice note for someone, or doing a dance. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Bobby Potteroff sighting in that Melody Matinee video. I saw you, Bobby. I saw you. Flood watches all the way until Thursday as we ramp up through the morning. Here it comes out of the southwest. Late this morning is when it's all encompassing all the way through the noon hour. Another heavy band late tonight into Thursday morning. Thunder, lightning, wind and hail chances the farther south that you push, lasting all the way until, say, Friday morning. There's a look at the severe thunderstorm risk map. Beautiful Mother's Day weekend. Just watch the flooding for the next 2 days. Do me a favor, be safe. We'll do this all again tomorrow morning.
We'll do it again today at noon.